Okay, this is a review for your test that you're going to have on Monday. So, obviously it'd be good to watch this and make sure that you can do all these type of problems. Okay, if we take number one. Number one, this problem has to be written as a decimal. So if you type it into your calculator, okay, just the way you read it, you should get the right answer for it. Okay. Okay, so 7 divided by 20, okay, and that comes out to 0.35. Make sure you get these right. These are a little bit easier than some of the ones that you're going to have further on your test. Okay, this one here, number 2, now it's a negative, so remember to put a negative decimal as well. Okay, so 5 divided by 12 on your screen. Okay, this one's going to repeat. You should have negative 0.416, and here's where it repeats. Now, on some of your calculators, this is going to be a 7 at the very end. That's because your calculator rounded it. It's still a repeating decimal, so just be aware of that. Number 3, 3 divided by 8, okay, and you should have 0.375 on that problem. So there are your answers to 1, 2, and 3 on the pretest. Okay, number 4. On these, you have to put a greater than, less than, or equal to symbol in. All right, now the best way to compare them is to type them into a calculator. Okay, to get this as a decimal, then you can compare it with the decimal here. So if you type in 4 divided by 5, you get negative 0.8 on your screen. All right, now when you're comparing, you have a 0.8 and a 0.8, but this next digit here is an 8 because it's repeating. The next digit here is a 0. Okay, so you have a 0 here and an 8 here. Now you got to kind of think clearly about this, because when we're dealing with negative numbers, numbers further left on the number line are smaller. Okay, less value. This number here is further left on the number line. Okay, it's a smaller value. So the symbol we put in here is the greater than symbol. Negative 4/5 is greater than negative 0.8 repeating. That's a tricky problem. Easy to get that one mixed up because they're both negative. Here now we have 2 that are positive. Okay, so this is a little bit better. Okay, type in 2 divided by 9. Okay, you're comparing it with 0.2, and this is also greater than. Okay, this should have given you a greater decimal than just 0.2. Okay, number 6, once again we have a negative, 2 negatives. Okay, so think clearly about that. When you have 2 negatives, if you type this in, 13 divided by 20, you're going to end up, on this one right here, you're going to get 0.65 here, okay, and it's negative. All right, so that one ends up, when you start comparing them, they are equal, neither one of them repeats. So these are your symbols that you should have for numbers 4, 5, and 6. Okay? All right, now here we have some, a couple decimals that you have to write as a fraction. Now, when you type this into your calculator, use your fraction key because it'll reduce it for you. So if you type this in, this, by the way, first of all, it's important to understand that this is 135 over 1,000. Okay, 135 thousandths, because 3 digits past the decimal, 3 zeros and 1,000. Now if you type it in, 135, and hit your ABC key or your fraction key on your calculator, then 1,000, okay, you should end up with 27 over 200, and that's in lowest terms. Okay, let the calculator get it in lowest terms for you. Okay, now this here, a little bit more difficult yet. When we learned these, we said if there was no repetition bar, it would be 32 hundredths, but since there's a repetition bar, it's 1 less, so 32 99ths. Okay, and then you got to get it in lowest terms if you can. Okay, and in this case here, 32 99ths is in lowest terms. If you use your calculator, if you type in 32, hit your ABC, and then 99, it will give you that same answer, so you'll know that it's in lowest terms. So check that. Okay, number 9, you had to take negative 6, and you had to say, okay, which one of these does it belong? What set? Okay, is it a whole number? It's not a whole number because whole numbers are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth. integers are all the whole numbers and their opposites. Okay, so it would be an integer. Okay, and it's also a rational number. Okay, a rational number is any number that can be written as a fraction. We can write negative 6 as a fraction by putting negative 6 over 1. Okay, now let's go on to number 10. Okay, here we have one that we have to solve a multiplication problem. We're going to reduce within this problem. Okay, so when we reduce here, we're going to go 27 goes into 27 once, 27 goes into 81 3 times. Okay, here 28 goes into 28 once, 28 goes into 56 twice. Okay, so now when we multiply our numerators, we get 1, because 1 times 1 is 1, and our denominators 6, so our answer is 1/6 on this problem. Okay, now this next one here we got a negative times a positive. Okay, now when we got a negative times a positive, we know our answer already is negative. So this is going to be a negative answer. So you might want to clarify that right off the bat. Now what we got going on is we got to make these improper. And that can be a challenge in itself. Okay, so when you're making them improper, this one here comes out to 128 over 11. Okay, and it's negative. And the next one is 99, okay, over 8. Okay, so make sure, and you can use your calculator when you make them improper, or you can type these in to your calculator and let it do the work for you. Okay, so we reduce here, 11 goes into 11 once, into 99 9 times. Okay, 8 goes into 8 once, and 8 goes into 128 16 times. You know, and that's it there. Now it's a 16 times 9, which is 144. So you end up with negative 144 because we determined early that it's a negative answer. So negative 144 is the correct answer. Okay, number 12. Now we have a division problem. You have to make them improper, and then we have to write the reciprocal. Okay, so I end up with negative 7 over 2 here. I got to change this to multiplication, and I have to flip this, but I first have to make it improper. So it's 35 over 6, so I'm going to flip it to 6 over 35. Okay, it's a negative times a positive now, so my answer is going to be negative. So I got to make sure I remember to put negative. I reduce within 1, 3, 1, 5. Okay, and there it is, negative 3/5 for your answer. Okay? Alright, number 13, certainly a pretty challenging one here. If you notice on number 13, it's a division problem on your paper. Well, I already changed it to multiplication, and I wrote the reciprocal here. I flipped this. Now watch the reducing that you can do here. Reduce the numbers first. Okay, so I'm going to go 36 goes into 36 once, 36 goes into 72 twice. Okay, 11 goes into both 55 and 33. 11 goes in here 5 times, 11 goes in here 3 times. Now there's no other reducing that I can do number-wise. But now when you take the variables, there's a bunch of reducing you can do. Okay, if I take x over 7 here, and x to the third here. Okay, well, if you got x to the third here, you can cross this out and take away 3 of them here, which is going to make this x to the 4th. Okay, here you have a y to the 5th and a y to the 6th. Well, the y to the 5th is going to be canceled right out. It's going to cancel 5 of these y's out to make it just y, a y to the 1st. You don't need the 1 above it if it's just y to the 1st. Here you got a z to the 6th and a z to the 4th. The z to the 4th is going to be completely gone. You can take 4 z's away here, which is going to make it z to the 2nd. Okay, and then that's all that you can do. So now if I multiply my numerator, I end up with 3 up on the top, and I have x to the 4th. Okay, and down below it I have 10. And then if I look at my variables, z to the 2nd, and then the letter y. So there's your answer, kind of one step at a time, a lot of reducing to do on that problem. Okay, here, multiplication problems. Now I can reduce within here, 5 goes into 5 once, 5 goes into 365, in this case 73 times. Okay, by the way, there's 365 days in a normal year, and in that problem you're timesing it by 4. Okay, so we end up now multiplying and we get 292 on that one. Okay, here, times plus, okay, 88 and 3 is 91, so 91 over 8. 4 we write as a fraction as 4 over 1. We can reduce within, 4 goes into 4 once, 4 goes into 8 twice, so we get 91 over 2, which is going to be 45 and a half when you write it as a mixed number. 2 goes into 92, 45 times with 1 left, so 45 and a half there. Okay, number 16, another multiplication problem. We got to make them improper. Okay, so on that problem, we end up with, when you carry it all out here, you go 14 times 5 plus 9 is 79. So you get 79 over 14. Okay, here. Okay, 56 over 1, and it's negative. Our answer is going to be negative because one of the numbers is negative. And now we can carry out 14 goes into 14 once, into 56 3 times. Okay, as far as our reducing goes. So now 79 times 3. And we're going to end up getting our answer on that one. That should come out to, this problem here should come out to negative 11, okay, and 8 11ths, okay, for your answer on that problem. This is an 11 right here, by the way, not a 1. Okay, so that's important on that. So you end up, when it's all said and done, reduced, it's negative 11 and 8 11ths. Here you got 3 of them to multiply together. Okay, so when you're multiplying 3 of them, you end up, this one stays negative 3/7. Okay, this one is 7 over 4. And this one here is 56 over 11. 2 of them are negative, so our answer is going to be positive. Lots of reducing within. 1, 1. 4 goes into 4 once. 4 goes into 56 14 times. Okay, that's it for the reducing. Okay, so 14 times 3 now on this problem is 42. So you get 42 11ths. 1 times 1 times 11. And then that comes out to 3 and 9 11ths. Okay, when you fix it up. So 3 and 9 11ths for that problem. Okay, number 18, similar type to the ones that we did. Okay, you got to go 10 thirds. Okay, times 14 times 5 plus 9, that's going to be 79. Okay, so 79 14ths. Okay, some reducing within here. Use your calculator if you have to on this to help you with your reducing steps. You should end up on this problem getting 18 and 17 over 21 for your answer for number 18. Number 19, you're doing a similar way. I'm not going to go through every step on that one because it's going to take a while, but you got to make them all improper. Your answer is going to be positive because you got 2 negatives. Okay, and if you do everything right there, you should end up with 22 and 15 over 22. Okay, and that's positive. Okay, number 20. We got a subtraction problem here that you should add the opposite on. So add the opposite. Now you have 2 that you just add together. Okay, 17 and 5. In this case here is 22. So you get 22 24ths, which reduces to 11 12ths. Okay, and I'm going to stop here because I don't want this to get too long where I can't save it. And then I'll pick up with a part 2 from this point.